Hockey. I want to thank you very much. There's our friend Billy Manzo. Not a COVID cough. You know what is? It's just like this thing in North Carolina. They shot the guy last Wednesday. I think Wednesday morning in his driveway. 7 kids. I think it's the Civil War is here. So here's the thing that I have with the police. And I saw of course it's North Carolina, and I think of like Mississippi Burning or maybe even Andy Griffith. But the cop who's on that I saw this evening is like, we're going to do a full investigation. How long does it take you to do the investigation? It happened Wednesday. I could tell you now what happened. Listen, if somebody screwed up and shot and killed this guy, because the other side, and let me just say this, folks, excuse me, there should be a penalty. If you put out false information, right? The family, the attorney, they're saying he had no drugs in the car and no weapon. Now, the police are saying he had drugs in the house and he was transporting them in the cars. If you pass off misinformation in that way, there should be a penalty. So many of these cases, it's the police are then chasing the tails. But here's my thing with law enforcement. Way too slow. You got to get ahead of this stuff. Like, what are we, surprised? We're going to do full investigation. What? When? When are you going to do a blanking investigation? It's Monday. Listen, it seems pretty simple. If you blanked up, you got to come out and say it. If he had a gun, tell us he had a gun. If he had drugs and a gun, he had drugs and a gun. What is taking so long? Like, I've had it. I will defend the police, but the police have to defend themselves. Let me say that. Police must defend themselves. This cannot be that we blindly go with this. How about all right, today's Monday. Why don't we try to make it to Friday without killing a black person in their drive? Like, is it possible that we could try to do that? Like, enough already. You know, I'm starting to, maybe we shouldn't allow some people to have the use of deadly force. I mean, they're starting to swing me to this. I can't take the incompetence, and I can't take what's taking so long. We're going to do ourselves investigation. What is this? Barney Fife? Is this the sheriff in blank in Mississippi Burning? What we're going to do is we're going to find. How long does it take to do an investigation? You shot and killed the guy in his blanking driveway. And folks, it's saying something if they're turning me this way. But like, here's the thing. This is a problem with law enforcement. I know, Donna McKnight, back the blue, but there are limits. All right? There are limits. They're not winning people over. It can't take that. One thing I have found, though, first of all, there's no one slower than the FBI. Only in movies do you see FBI working on the clock. In real life, 4:30, they're out of there. Are you kidding me? The statute of limitations, a lot of federal crimes, is 7 years. You know what that means? It means they slog along for like 6.5. All due respect to the G-men. As far as police, you know, like in Louisville, back with the Breonna Taylor thing, we're still investigating. What do you mean you're still investigating? How many people listening right now have worked for a boss who said, by the way, I want the report done and on my desk in the morning? Boom, and that's it. What is taking them so long? And maybe, you know, maybe they're right. Barney Fife on the job is exactly right. How much longer? Listen, when you have a shooting, depending on where it is, the clock is running. The clock is ticking. Look what happened in Minneapolis, right? The first word that went out was he was shot and killed. They pulled him over at an air freshener. That was proven to be wrong. But my God, they're so slow on the uptake. You know, and even last fall, the police, they were actually, I was going to say, they were actually pretty quick. Providence Police, I'm not going to knock. They were pretty quick with the Jamal Gonzalez thing, even though there are still members saying that, yeah, we're still investigating. What is this, the Kennedy assassination? It's not that complicated. We're going to go through, hey, sheriff, right? I understand there doesn't a lot goes on in this little sleepy town, but you're going to create a riot here. Get everybody off their, just come to a conclusion. If you screwed up, whoever it is, they got to pay the penalty. Now, thank you, Donna McKnight. Enough of this. Today is Monday. Why don't we try to hit Friday without killing a black person? All right, police, can we do that? And I say that as a big supporter. But I just can't take it anymore. And the incompetence, the slowness of the investigation. It is like Barney Fife. The longer it drags on, the more. I'll tell you what police training this should be. All right? And I don't hear anyone say this. The police training should be on what to do in a crisis. Because so many of them are like, just like in Minneapolis, that Brooklyn, what is it called? Brooklyn Center, was it? Whatever that place, I don't even remember now, where the Dante Wright was shot. You know, and then like they slowly get to the press conference, and then the mayor's there, and he's fighting with the police chief, and then fighting with the city manager or whoever it is. Like, there needs to be training that when you have a shooting, the clock is running, and you have got to address this stuff. And by the way, I now view if you put out into the community false information that results in rioting or unrest, you should, it's against the law to yell fire in a crowded theater. And I think it's against